Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reacting to the craziest things ever caught on a GoPro camera. Alright, and I think there's like 10 of them there. So that's what we're going to be watching right now, and it has some scary stuff. Let's go ahead and get started and watch it now. Ooh, snake. Ooh. Ooh. That's pretty high.
With GoPro cameras, people can just strap them on and go. It frees up the person's hands as they revel in an activity, such as the wearer looking to shoot beautiful scenery or some daredevil action. However, even at the best of times, things can go wrong. When that happens, the GoPro can capture some of the most frightening moments in a person's life. Today we're going to take a look at some of the terrifying moments that GoPros have recorded, including moments that involve animals, falls, stunts, and insane heights. Whew! Let's get started. In 2017, Johan Potgieter was doing some spearfishing off the coast of South Africa. To record the event, he strapped on a GoPro while tackling the ocean's fish. As he dropped into the water, all was calm. Yet, in a flash, a massive great white shark sneaks up on Potgieter's left-hand side. We can even hear his screams from the sudden jump scare. The shark then spots the spear in Potgieter's hand. Realizing the danger, it quickly swims away into the murky water. The spear likely saved Potgieter from a chomping as it was directed at the shark. Grabbing the opportunity, Potgieter swims towards the sea surface. As soon as he gets up for air, he calls out to his partner on the boat. He warns him about the shark circling them. But it's not over with the shark. As soon as he takes another look into the water, the shark is immediately beneath him. The great white likely saw that the weapon was elsewhere and was planning on attacking. Yet because Potgieter pointed out his spear back at the shark, it decided it wasn't worth it and darted off, leaving Potgieter to get out of the water and onto the boat safely. Sometimes the GoPro can capture scary moments that were actually planned. In 2013, the Red Bull Rampage was going on in Utah, the United States. The Rampage is a free-ride mountain bike competition. Taking part was New Zealand national Kelly McGarry. He strapped a GoPro onto his helmet for the event. The treacherous track makes it seem impossible for anybody to cycle on, let alone hold a competition with. Yet McGarry makes it look easy with sudden drops and tight tracks. As he builds up pace, he attempts a trick jump. He nails it as the roar of the crowd can be heard. Eventually, McGarry gets to the top of the hill. At the bottom is a ramp. He has to fly off the ramp and cover 72 feet to get to the other side. Not only does he do this, he does it via a backflip. The moment is incredibly smooth on the GoPro. He lands with no problem to finish off the race, with more trick jumps and one more backflip just for good measure. To date, it's by far GoPro's most watched video on their YouTube channel. Ever. It has over 123 million views, but with skills like McGarry's, it's easy to see why. If you have a nest of stinging insects, you can't go wrong with calling Jude Verrett, it seems. During 2017, Verrett arrived at a shed in Louisiana. Inside the building was a hornet's nest the size of a small refrigerator. To show the carnage, Verrett brings with him a GoPro along with his protective suit and helmet. That gear is going to be really useful shortly. The footage begins relatively calm as Verrett looks closely at the nest. However, a few hornets pick up on the intrusion. Soon, the buzzing gets louder and louder and louder. The number of hornets flying around him in attack mode doubles within moments. They prime their stingers and attack Verrett, but his gear keeps him safe. Throughout the whole ordeal, he isn't even stung once. The hornets also attack the GoPro. You can hear a popping noise that sounds like microwavable popcorn. That noise is the amount of hornets hitting the camera to protect their nest. When Verrett puts the GoPro down, we can see him getting swarmed by the aggravated hornets. And yet, he continues. Verrett sprays the nest with poison and continues to dismantle it. Eventually, the problem of the massive hornet's nest is dealt with. During 2015, a group of French tourists were exploring the Lake Waikaremoana Great Walk Trail. This is a hiking track in Te Urewera National Park, New Zealand. To capture the adventures on the trek, one of the tourists has a GoPro strapped to them. The group soon comes across Hapuarahine Bridge. This bridge is said to be able to hold a maximum of 10 people at a time over the river below. So the group of 3 should have no issue getting across, right? Not quite. The group gets halfway across the bridge. Suddenly, one of the bridge's cables snaps. The bridge suddenly twists. No one has a chance to yell as all of the tourists are dropped into the water below, a distance of 26 feet. For what feels like hours, we can only see and hear the rushing water, as well as the thrashing of the hikers as the camera is submerged. Eventually, the camera is picked up by one of the hikers. They look up and see the broken bridge. Each one of the hikers sustained no serious injuries. Considering the distance of the fall and the rushing water, it's pretty lucky that they escaped with no major issues. One day in 2013, a group of kayakers wanted to tackle the River Lynn in Devon, England. The one with the GoPro, Barney Young, hadn't tried this river before, so he wanted to film the event. Soon into the video, Young goes over a waterfall. For a moment, he's submerged. He glances behind him, and another kayaker had turned upside down in the water. Before Young needs to act, the kayaker is able to turn himself around. They then watch as the rest of their crew goes over the waterfall. However, Mark Hardingham goes down a waterfall next to the one the others had just used. Immediately, Hardingham is trapped. His kayak had gotten vertically pinned against the waterfall and a rock in the river. Water was gushing down and smothering him. When he was asked if he was okay, Hardingham put his thumb up. Luckily, his helmet had created a small pocket of air, so he could breathe. But that could change. Young and the crew acted fast. They used ropes and carabiners to pull Hardingham out of the kayak. Once they do, they're able to safely bring him to the shore. He was fine. In fact, almost all of the kayakers did another run of the river after this. Due to the great weather, several cyclists decided to face the Bulldog Trail in Black Hills, South Dakota during 2012. The rider with a GoPro then approaches the gate. A small ramp is attached in order to allow cyclists to safely pass. However, as the rider is just about to hop off the ramp, something snaps at him. It's easy to miss in real time. Yet when it's slowed down, we can see a coiled snake strikes out at the rider. Immediately, the rider calls out and warns the other cyclists of the danger. The snake in question is a rattlesnake. The rider was lucky that his leg wasn't lower to the ground. Out of curiosity, once everybody was safe, the rider decided to get a closer look at the serpent. He puts his helmet with the GoPro onto the floor next to the rattlesnake. The snake is visibly angry. The rattle on its tail shakes to warn the cyclists, but the rider pushes the helmet closer. The snake then snaps at the GoPro, leaving a layer of venom across the camera's lens. Before they leave, the cyclists get one more shot of the snake striking before continuing on with their journey. During 2015, Australian Christopher Jones was taking part in a skydive with instructor Sheldon McFarlane. McFarlane had a GoPro strapped to his head so Jones can see himself soar through the sky later on. The skydive had a distance of 12,000 feet. However, as the two jump from the plane, disaster strikes. Jones has epilepsy, and he begins to have a seizure as they reach 9,000 feet. Jones had been cleared to do the jump by his doctor. He had all the correct paperwork, yet the epileptic seizure still happened. McFarlane acts quickly. He darts toward Jones, but he can't grab onto him. Jones spirals away from McFarlane. McFarlane tries again. He positions himself towards Jones. Now at 4,000 feet, he manages to grab hold of Jones. He immediately pulls Jones's parachute cord. McFarlane then moves away from Jones so he can pull his own cord. At 3,000 feet, Jones becomes conscious and is able to land without an issue. Even if McFarlane hadn't reached Jones in time, Jones did have an automatic launch device due to his condition. Once they reached a certain height, the parachute would have deployed anyway. But still, McFarlane did a great job regardless. During 2017, Canadian hunter Richard Wesley was trekking through Fire River, Ontario. As he approaches the outskirts of a forest, something catches his eye in the marshland. Armed with a bow and arrow and a GoPro on his head, Wesley watches. In the distance, we can see a large black object moving about. As it gets closer, we can see that it's a black bear. Wesley stays silent and keeps an eye on the bear. While he was likely hoping it would go on in the opposite direction, the bear instead gets closer to Wesley. He prepares his bow in case he needs to defend himself. As the bear edges closer, Wesley grunts at the bear. Now it had seen Wesley and it was startled. Wesley yells at the bear, but it keeps coming. Both the man and the bear are trying to defend themselves. Wesley starts to panic as the bear runs toward him and jumps. The bear knocks into Wesley. As a result, the GoPro falls onto the floor and misses the action. We can only hear Wesley groan. Then, Wesley collects the camera and sharply leaves with his damaged pride. He luckily only sustained a bruised elbow from the bear encounter. Vitaly Roskolov and Vadim Makoro are Russian daredevils with the YouTube channel On the Roofs. During their careers, they've climbed some of the tallest buildings in the world with no safety equipment. Just using their free climbing skills, it's as dangerous as it sounds. In 2015, the climbers took on the challenge of the Shenzhen Center in Guangdong, China. At the time, the Shenzhen Center was still being constructed. It's now known as the Ping An Finance Center. It's one of the tallest buildings in the world, at almost 2,000 feet. Under the cover of night, the two daredevils ascend the building with GoPros. As they get higher, the footage is enough to strike anyone with a case of vertigo or anxiety. They even go up the cranes on top of the building used for its creation, which takes the daredevils to nearly 2,200 feet up into the sky. By the time they reach the very top, the city is draped in daylight.
Don't do this at home, guys.
Even though being up there is incredibly risky, they do get an amazing view of Shenzhen. They then have to go all the way back down. Somehow, they manage to achieve all of this without being caught by security or the builders. And
Where's
that's
the
it.
security?
Have you
There's no
recorded any
security.
scary moments on your GoPros?
Wow. Wow. Let me know which one you like the most. Alright guys, that's it. Hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and God bless you guys. Let's have fun, enjoy life, and live life to the fullest. And comment below if you have any other videos that you want me to react to or share with me. Alright guys, God bless you.